And I think that Mike McNamara is coming because he texted me and said he was on his way, but he'll join us late. So first up is public comment. Any correspondence? I don't know if Amanda or anybody online. I see people, but no hands. So I'm going to assume there's no public comment. Moving on to minutes from last meeting. If anybody has, if we've all reviewed them, I had a chance to review them. If you could, someone could make a motion to accept them.
Motion to
Hi.
accept minutes?
Thank you, Roz. Second from Dave. Okay.
Just
Yes. please.
minor.
I had a couple of
Yeah.
Me, there's
Good. Okay.
Corrections,
Discussion,
yes.
corrections.
a couple
Okay.
of typos that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's
Yep.
spelled right sometimes and not
Yeah.
either, that's all. Thank you.
Any other? Nope. Okay. So roll call vote. Dick.
Ida Cartman.
Okay. Roz. Dave.
Dave Courier.
Debbie.
Aye.
And Alisa, yes. All right, moving on. So I don't know if Kara is online. We had invited Kara Miwini. She is running the cultural center in Harwich. It's a pretty cool building. They took over the middle school, and they have artists, working artists, and workshops and classes and activities and events. It's a pretty cool space, so I knew it would be right up Debbie's alley, something for us to think about how we could integrate our cultural district and cultural council possibly into like a town-owned building. But I don't see her online, and she's not here, so maybe she's late and we'll pick it up. I'll email her in the meantime. So that was going to be agenda just for us to discuss like ways that we could work with the Cultural Council, because Amanda and I have had a lot of discussion about that intersection of our two groups and two committees. There's so much about the vibrancy that a Cultural Council can bring and the activities of artists and live music and whatnot that really add to like the economic development of a town and attracting people. But she's not here, so I don't know. Amanda, you want to add anything to just that top line? So we'll come.
Well, I will
Yeah.
just mention that I've mentioned in the past couple of meetings that we have started to work on an cultural comprehensive plan
Yeah.
internally, and right now we're in the process of surveying the community about their wants and needs and what they like and dislike about what Orleans offers right now. We're trying to figure out, what are we doing well that we can enhance, where are some gaps that we can fill. And with the resident and visitor survey, we have about 162 responses right now. And then we did a small business one as well, and the cultural organization, so 3 separate surveys. So we're in the trenches with that, and thinking we'll probably wrap that up in the next few months.
It's one of the things that makes our region so unique is to have so many, artists and working artists, and it makes it a cool destination. I know when we were looking at Governor Prince, right, Andrea, we were looking at like, could it be a cultural center or could it be an artist studio or something?
I was. Yeah,
I know
Debbie,
Deb-
yeah, Debbie
I know
inspired.
Debbie was.
Can I make one
Yeah.
small note? The Cultural Council is a
Dif-
funding organization
Okay.
from the state. The Cultural District is an economic development driver based on the creative economy. And
Okay.
I think we have to be very careful because it's so confusing in the
Yeah.
mind of the public, the two different organizations. But the cultural districts were formed as an economic engine. And I think with the changeover in the MCC now, their 5-year plan, and Amanda and Tom can speak to it in more detail, is really how do we monetize and make sure that cultural districts are money making for the local businesses they represent. The standards are changing. And so it's the perfect timing for our town to be having these
Thinking.
conversations.
So tell me the definition again. Cultural district is is it a defined district that is an economic,
So, yeah, the cultural councils
Yeah.
they're funded annually. The town matches that funding, and they basically give away. They do grants every year. They also have some other pet projects, but they're a separate funnel and category directly to artists or art spaces or arts education.
Okay.
Separate from cultural districts, are about, what, 10 or 12 years old. We've been recertified twice. We're ready for our next certification. And they informed us, what, Amanda, 6 months ago or so, that they're kind of changing the terms of how what they expect in terms of performance from
And
cultural districts.
They receive funding from the state as well, the cultural districts.
Where is our cultural district?
The whole town, which
The
is
whole
unique.
town is a
Yep.
cultural
Yeah,
district.
it was, the category used to be, had to be like a
Yeah.
15 to 20-minute walking radius.
Yeah.
But our cultural assets are from bay to ocean.
Okay.
So we petitioned and got that. It is our whole town, which is unusual. And as you know, with the history of having a home for the cultural district, 44 Main has been in discussion and in play for years. It's not big enough. We have all of the information about a community center, but this is a fantastic conversation because it can be somewhat like recreation, because our whole cultural district is our whole
Whole
town,
town, okay.
that we have a kind of buildings without walls. And that creates the possibility of intimacy, of this marriage between think of all the restaurants that host live music.
Yeah,
They're using, I think we can be very inventive and creative about it.
yeah, it was interesting to have an actual destination. I went to an open house for Makerspace where they have 3D printer and all this cool equipment. And then when I went in, it was every classroom is kind of rented by an artist. And then they have their space and they display it and people come in, they can do classes individually.
It's not here, though.
No, that's in Harwich.
Yeah, an art space, and
it's
so
really
the
cool.
same, and the same way, I think we have to look at, kind of really wrap our heads around the business of this. The same way we have subsidized studio space in places on the Cape for artists to work, and what happens when artists, I heard about a local artist who the town needs that space back, and he's got to find another studio space, which affects his
Yeah.
livelihood. So the same way we would look at business incubators.
Yeah,
and
it's an
how we-
amplifier for businesses, absolutely. They come for that and then they go to other things.
Right, and whether it's a food truck for a restaurant or a maker space for an artist, and how we bring it together. How do we showcase? How do we market? How do we connect our brand to that independent maker, whether they're working in aquaculture or two-dimensional art?
Yeah.
We don't care.
So I guess, Amanda, is there anything about cultural district or cultural, I don't know, anything in the local comprehensive plan? that
Yes.
has- Yeah, okay. So it's connecting the dots there, and I think when we get to that, we can have a
Yes.
discussion of like,
And in the local comprehensive plan, it calls for a cultural comprehensive plan, which is,
what you're working on, right? And so maybe we could be part of that and help, I don't know, at least minimally understand it, if not, pick up some of the goals or.
yeah, I mean, so we have a working group, and there are members of EDC, like the committee, along with the cultural district, cultural council, historical commission. So we've kind of gathered a working group to help inform the survey and, work on
Yeah.
behind the scenes, and then we'll, involve the public and.
I guess I just mean as a body, because we've gotten
Yep.
down the road on things and then have to come back
Yes.
here and just trying to keep us all informed about what's happening, so.
Yeah.
I see you wanted to say something, Debbie.
I do. I think that the cultural plan, the comprehensive cultural plan is really important and gives opportunity to look at all of these issues in the broadest way. And I personally think that the cultural district is subordinate to a broader arts and culture department of the town, if we want to call it that, or arts and culture convening entity, because the cultural district is a Mass Cultural Council program that started as just a plain marketing thing, and then now there's some money attached. And I actually it'd be interesting to hear more about this whole monetizing side of it, which I think is always risky business, actually. Um, But the town's role is just one of the players, I guess is my point. And I'm not exactly sure how the structure would work, but I worry about getting too minutely focused on these Mass Cultural Council programs that come and don't go. The cultural councils have been in existence for over 30 years. Every town in Massachusetts gets a bit of money based on the population, and that's it for the most part. In some of the bigger population areas, they've grown those committees to do actual programming, but here on the Cape, not very much.
So you're saying, not relying on the cultural council and the little bit of money that comes in there to think that we've checked the box and done the work to have a
Yeah.
more, yeah.
Yeah, and the idea of embracing the cultural council, and so they're not off necessarily just doing this one little thing, and it's,
Yep.
it's no money, it's $4,000, it's nothing substantial.
And
And then the cultural district kind of embodies the principles that I think we all want to look at that, excuse me, support economic development, but somehow that's not it. And I'm not being very articulate here, but we don't have to do only that, I guess is my point.
Yeah.
We could go beyond that. That is just one piece of the picture.
Okay, so we do have an open seat on our committee, and maybe there is someone from the Cultural Council or an artist or someone that we could recruit that has that perspective that could help us even advocate from, the dais, just throw it, we have one open seat, so trying to think about that. What's a good voice and perspective to add here?
I do want to note that the Cultural District does do programming, and Arts Week is next week. It starts Saturday. It's their big week of the year, so they've got a lot of things going on. Just for the public's information, and you can go to their website and see their schedule. That's what they use some of their budget for. They also do the pop-up practices at Parish Park every Saturday. I think in May, June, July, and
April,
April.
May, June, September, October, November.
And then they have been doing an event around the solstice in December. They also just launched a new program in order to support the local business community. On First Fridays, they're giving out grants for businesses to apply for to bring in an artist, whether it be a musician or a painter or somebody to do demonstrations in front of their space to kind of enhance that event. So, we really encourage them to partner with the local business community to enhance what they're doing already, like take a successful program like a First Friday and really add to it.
Leveraged that, yeah. Were you going to say something, Russ?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say that, the arts is a great economic driver, economic development tool, and it's definitely something that, I would love us to be chatting about as we are now, and especially as the plan comes together. It's connected to everything. It's connected to education. It's connected to housing. It's connected to everything. Becomes the desirable place, to be. And to that end, what have we done as a town to potentially think about artist housing? Has that been a conversation at all?
So it's part of the seasonal communities designation that towns can now have designated specific artist housing, and that you can deed restrict it and you can come up with a funding source for it. But that hasn't been fully adopted, and all the zoning bylaws and stuff that go with it haven't been adopted or implemented yet. But it's in the milieu. People are talking about it and know that it's an important part, especially on the lower outer Cape. We haven't done anything yet with it, but.
I mean, artist communities,
Yeah.
drive youth. They drive, just a depth and a tangible, difference. I think in a town when you start really being known for a town that is respectful to their artists and encourages that. It becomes a cool place to be. And one of the things that that as we think about, how do we make sure that we're retaining and attracting younger families, aside from the large affordability issues that we talked about, to death, is it a fun place to be? We have beautiful geography here, but is this fun? Where's the fun factor in and this is a conversation I'm having in Boston, is a conversation, because we just, I think we need young people also on this council, and you guys are youngish.
And they both have a lot of fun things happening at their
We are a fun time.
You guys,
so fun.
but, are we, and you are doing it, right,
Yeah.
Mike, with the Outermost Festival? That is like so cool. That we've become that destination, but what are some of the things that we can do to attract families to say, if I was going to live on the Cape, I'd want to live here, in Orleans.
Well, the brewery is one of those places, even in the bowling alley as well, is where families go and convene, and then, the food and they have live music, frequently, and you guys see people from all around the Cape come in, for some of those bands are, well-loved, even from Boston and other areas. So it's a proven concept that people come.
Yeah, and I think, to speak for Dave and I've kind of coined the term multi-generational fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's back when we first launched. It's like
Yeah.
that was the mantra.
Right.
To try to create that space that everyone feels welcome.
I miss the ping pong tables.
Yeah, it's a couple of real estate.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so more stuff like that. And so I guess did I interrupt you? Do you have anything else you want to say? Yeah.
One other question for Amanda. As we start developing this cultural plan, how are we connecting that to education and the school system? Is there a plan? Is there something in there to have some connectivity with the students, because they're part of the community?
I think our first goal was to get input from them, which, luckily the recreation department, they'd sent out the survey through their list, and we were able to get many more younger voices on there, which was good. So we'll start there, but definitely it'll be in there for sure.
And our recreation is doing such a good job. They've really stepped up their game. I'm taking a couple of classes, and I know other
Yeah.
people that are. So, and people from all around the region are in these classes.
Yes.
So that's another place and another point where it brings people in and has us seen differently and the experience with the town differently. So.
And I do want to note to Debbie's point about, the cultural district, they do a great job, but it is a volunteer-driven committee, which can, it's great that we have that energy, but sometimes with long-term sustainability, that can be a bit of a challenge. So the cultural district at the state level, they are re-examining, they're going to be a little bit, I think, the impression that I get, it's going to be harder to get the funding. So you have to, as a cultural district, you're going to have to show up a little bit more. And Orleans is positioned to continue to get that kind of funding because it does do the programming, but they are going to require there be staff presence through the town. So that is going to be something that they want it more integrated into
That's really good.
to town.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Does that become your job?
Well, it's recreation, culture, and community events.
So maybe someone else will
Yeah.
help out. Amanda can't do everything.
Yeah, well, luckily, Tom brought Jamie Dimitri onto his team, so
Yeah, so
she's
they have
been-
capacity.
Yeah, she's been doing that, but yeah.
Before we go on to updates, next, the agenda item after that is local comprehensive plan. Is Elizabeth coming? No, so we're going, so we don't have to wait for anybody else to come for this. Okay, great. So, updates from Amanda's memo. Anything that jumps out to anybody in this? I have one question on the ARPA, or AARP, forget it, no.
Yeah.
it's not
You're like,
ARPA.
does that
Okay,
exist
sorry.
anymore?
Dyslexia, yeah, I was like, that's what I was gonna say, like, how did we get that? How did you get that? No, but I did go to the Orleans Citizens Forum, which I thought was a good discussion. And it's nice that the Orleans Citizens Forum is like taking up economic development and, you know, kind of expanding their horizons as well and bringing in kind of local experts. One thing that stuck out to me was the conversation about expanding our business districts, the rural business districts in East Orleans and South Orleans. And so I just want to make sure that we as a body don't lose track of that. And then I know it's kind of implied in the local comprehensive plan, but it doesn't call it out specifically. But it's something that we've talked about for years, and I know the businesses in that, and especially in East Orleans, are desperate for a little love and the regulatory process there. So it's a real missed opportunity for the town to not just have it be a continuation coming off Nauset Beach and then, you know, into Main Street. So I was glad that it came up there, and just want to make sure that we keep track of it. I don't know if any, yeah, Dave?
I guess for me, it becomes, that becomes a little bit frustrating, would be the word. Because, you know, being on these boards for so long, we've seen them restrict limited business, this business, that business, because what I've been hearing for the last, being so young, as you say, for the last 20 years, is we're trying to push everything to the center of town. And we sat there for decades restricting businesses because in a push to get downtown. And now, so define like what we're doing, because that's the frustrating side of running businesses in this town. Is it feels like the town, one committee talks about it
Yeah.
this way, another committee talks about it that way, and we're just trying to navigate.
Yeah, it's
And-
like whiplash.
And that is, you know, from one of the people that's been treated like the redheaded stepchild for the last 20 years, would be nice that if we got a little love too.
Yeah,
So,
meaning the downtown.
no, I'm in limited business.
You're in, yeah,
Yeah, so I'm not part of the cool scene.
yeah.
So
Well, you're
But
entering.
did you
Yes.
make up with it with your business? Can I just, because
What?
it came up at another meeting last night, the South Orleans is sewer dependent. That's because it's been across from the watershed, so
Yeah.
it's been restricted. And it's when sewers connect, that's, I think, when you can kind of expect a conversation about how that area will be developed. So we're a couple years off. I believe it's phase 4.
Right, but East Orleans, obviously, you have a business.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
that's
East Orleans.
way overdue.
Yeah, and again, this balance that we're going to end up with the village center, the same discussion of how do you put activity next to concentrated living, you know, noise, light, activity in general, and we'll find the balance.
Yeah. That seems like a good problem to have that
Yeah.
discussion of anything.
are we trying to expand the outskirts, or we're trying to build the center? Like that's, you know what I mean? Because
It's
The
such a
center,
small
the center,
area. I mean, like, I think that it's limiting to think about it as so separate. I live in East Orleans. I can walk to the village center. It's not that big of a deal. Other places have a broader boundary than just thinking about those couple of blocks. What if, and then there's a lot of people that come off Nauset Beach and drive by what used to have a pizza place, a breakfast place, a deli, 2 delis, now that's all closed. I think it's a real missed opportunity for the town and for visitors, but then to get them hooked into going to the next place, up into Main Street. I don't know, we have regressed, we've gone backwards, and I don't know. I mean, the limited district, it's like kind of opening it up, like we're open for business in all the areas, and what do we have to do in order to make that happen?
It's underutilized, right? I mean,
It is underutilized. We've got empty buildings. It's ridiculous. I mean, like, put an ice cream shop, something. Yes.
well, you have to understand they're empty for a reason. People don't close their doors and close their businesses because they're making a lot of money.
Well, no, I think in East Orleans, you can go down, and there's a couple that are closed, not because they weren't making money. It's there are other reasons. So I have some very specific examples of buildings and owners that have refused to sell and have refused to open and have refused to participate and use their building in ways that would be an advantage to the town, and it actually is an eyesore. I mean, I don't think that that's right, and from economic development, for us to
So-
let a laundromat in downtown sit empty for years and years and years too, I think it's not a good use of space, and we're
They
trying to
weren't
say,
making money, though.
then turn it into something else.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Pivot.
pivot, yeah. I mean, we have to figure out ways to incentivize people to be able to pivot or sell or do something. It's not really fair to us who live here to have these assets and these buildings, and they bought them, paid cash, sitting on them for 50-plus years and not doing anything with them. That's not about not making money. That's about other things going on in that family and why they're not opening.
I feel like there's also, it was kind of a hurry up and wait scenario, right? We pushed all this stuff through, whether it was the advent of the sewers, we pushed all these things through,
Yeah.
whether it was the, different delineations between the areas of town and everything else, and created these different centers and all the zoning changes and all this stuff. And now everyone's just waiting. They're waiting for someone to come in with a checkbook and
Yeah.
do something about it. And
Yeah.
I don't know when that's going to happen,
exactly right.
and that, but I
They'll
think
need a
that's,
checkbook, yeah.
that's like there's a lot that's been approved and a lot that's forged forward over the last decade and a half since I've been here
Yeah.
full time, but
Yep.
no one's done anything.
Yep.
No one's put a shovel in the ground. He has. I have. I mean, there's other people that have done a lot of things. I mean, there's some things
It's a good
downtown
point.
that are happening, but and I
People
think
own
people are
land.
gun shy because they don't know what the ultimate look and feel is going to be. I mean, you're going to build an ice cream shop to have your landlord come back and say,
You're
"We're
closed."
knocking it down."
Yes. No, I
And
know.
I think that's a big concern that at least
It's true.
conversations I've had with small business owners, and I'm sure Judy can, build on it. I mean, people are worried, I mean,
Yeah.
it's happening right now in Nantucket big time,
Yeah.
where people that have had leases for years,
Yep.
losing them, that have businesses that, they would want to be selling to,
They put a lot of
somebody else.
money
They
to
put a
start
lot
the
of time, they
business.
put their whole
Yeah.
livelihood and
Yeah.
everything. And I think there's a lot of people that feel like they're about to get their rug ripped out from under them here for the same exact reasons.
Yep.
That's kind of what I'm trying to allude to is it's very, very easy to sit on the sidelines and play Monday morning quarterback. But when you're sitting there playing with your life savings and your future and everything that you've worked for, it's a whole different ballgame. I mean, we sat here a year ago talking about the cost of sewer hookups. We got nothing accomplished. And that's, I mean, for me, $70,000, I don't know about you guys, but $70,000 for waste pipes on your property is a lot of money. Like, it's a lot of, and then another $230,000 to the town for my privilege fee. It's a lot of money. And to have a business in a town of what the town says, 6,000 year-round people, and if you guys can find them in January, I'd be very thankful because I'll go advertise with them. But this is a extremely seasonal economy.
Yeah.
And you're talking real numbers right now. Just to build something is astronomical.
Yeah.
Like, and you have to have a really good business plan to make that work and pay living wages. And it's not as easy as you think.
No, it's not. I'm not trying to say that it's easy, but the first building block and the first step is having a regulatory environment that business can be open and that the uses of buildings can be imaginative and not overly prescribed or restricted. That's the first step. That's all I'm saying. Like then, okay, yes, does there still need to be incentives? Does there still need to be people here? Does there still need to be all these other layers? Yes, but right now we have restricted use and in a complicated permitting process. Like that's right there, you're done. No one's gonna wanna spend money on that stuff if you can't see a way to even do it.
Alyssa?
Yes,
I mean,
sorry,
I
Jim.
don't want to jump ahead too much, but that's why we're here, guys.
Yeah.
That's what economic development is about. When we get to the comprehensive plan and look at the things, are we looking at the model? I mean, we go down the list and look at the number of things that we're in charge of. That's why we're here.
Yeah, okay,
So everything you said is true, but that's what's got to change, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
And if we look at we're going to look at the comprehensive plan a little bit, and we look at things there, some of it's confusing, but there are things that say, Well, first of all, the first one is establish local leadership structure, achieve common goals. But actively seek destination business to enhance the local economy. I mean, there are things in here that were on the economic development plan that created this committee that we're in charge of.
Okay, so it's a
So it's-
sobering.
Right, so, and we talked about this just a little bit.
Yeah.
So now that this group's got a little bit of traction, you know. it's
Now's our time.
Time to see, and I'm getting ahead.
No, it's,
things, But I think that, I mean, everything you're saying, and you've been saying for a long time, both of you.
yeah, is right.
I think that's part of the problem. We've been saying it for a long time. And I think there's a lot of great, conversation and discussion about it, but there's only a few people that can actually do things in this room, and I
Yeah.
think we're limited on that. I mean, it's,
Yeah, those two.
and they have their work cut out for them.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just sitting here firing all these great ideas and everything about what we think we can do, and we appreciate everything that you all are doing on a day in and day out basis, because that's the only way it's going to happen. But we have other challenges. I mean, I've got roles right now, not only here in businesses I own in Hyannis and even Plymouth, for that matter, where I've got jobs open that have benefits.
Yeah.
No one's applying
No one's
for 'em.
applying. Yeah, there's no-
And this isn't just Orleans. This is
Is that
just
there's no housing.
Cape and
Yeah.
South Shore. I mean, it's like
It's
and
a problem.
very competitive salary, fun
Yeah.
place to work. I think cool people to work for.
Yeah.
But all right, no one wants to work. But that's the environment we've fostered, unfortunately. So we're stuck in this quagmire right now, and I think I honestly don't know if I have all of the answers, to what we can do to forge ahead.
So I want to go to the next agenda item because you're, sobering comments and yes, you're right, but so we're done with that agenda item of your. No, not the cultural, her memo. If there's anything else, just to bring a finer point, getting us back to the agenda. Is there anything else on your memo that you want us to know?
No, I just wanted to highlight the reason why I listed the grant applications was to just let you all know and let the community know that we are continually seeking external sources of funding as well as relying on taxpayer dollars. So in order to push through some of the priorities we've identified. So I did want to just mention that. And, May is going to be a big month to hear back from a lot of these grant opportunities. So,
All right, so taxpayer dollars and town meeting are next.
They are.
So the local comprehensive plan, just to come back to like this discussion, is very much, integrated into the goals that are there. Do you want to talk about the budget and then come back to that or do you want to stay on this topic of the local comprehensive plan and things that we can do? This is for you
Hear
all.
from Amanda.
Okay. So,
well, just for some context, there has never been an economic development line item in the town's budget before. So we're making progress. And I did submit, it's an economic development communications budget. That is my role. So I did want to just let you know that in the FY27 budget that you all will be voting for at voting on at town meeting, there is an economic development line item that includes continuing the local impact grant program. I budgeted some money for consultants just in case we wanted to do additional studies for various things. We will be getting a business website. There will be more communications in terms of townwide mailers, and then some technical assistance support for our local businesses as well. So I did want to just highlight that's, and then the development of some collateral materials for the town. So I did want to just highlight those for in the budget.
okay. Does everybody feel comfortable supporting this at town meeting? And is it bundled in with other things that there would be no opportunity to speak on it?
No, it's under the town managers. It's its own line item, so.
Okay, so somebody could
Yes.
call on it and then we could step up
Yeah.
the microphone as a private citizen or.
And fortunately, it seems there's been quite a bit of support. I've spoken to the finance committee, I've spoken to the select board about
Okay.
it, and people have been very supportive about, and I feel like it's a small step, but it's a good step.
Okay,
Have you determined how much you're looking for?
It's $150,000. small step.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
We've got grants too to add.
But just to lay the foundation that, in order to do significant things, we need
Or to have incentives, we got to have
Yeah.
what
Yes.
was it called from last meeting?
the district improvement financing.
Yeah, the district
Like those types of tools are important.
What's missing
Really
here?
prioritizing
Yeah,
large economic development projects.
yes.
So I do have a
Yes.
question in that regard. If you look at the comprehensive plan, there's a chart with the goals that says that the lead responsible agency is economic development. The timing is S, but there's nothing associated to it. That chart, I don't know if, Deb, maybe you can answer that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you
The-
just said.
There's when you get to the goals and
I
and under
closed on
community
that.
community systems, which is economic development, man, it's on page 217 of the comprehensive plan.
Okay.
And it's got that chart, and the timing is S, the resources are M for medium, that's staff, the resources staff. The lead responsible agency is economic development, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for us, but I don't know what they are. See that, how does that graph, or that chart, that table?
I don't think we have it in front of us.
I know, Amanda.
Yeah, I don't have
So
it
we
in
don't know
front
what
of
you're
me
talking about.
either, so.
It was in the packet. Maybe that's-
Yeah.
The
Was it-
link, I didn't,
Yeah, yes.
it's a 250-page document, so I did not include the,
It's a link
But you had a
to,
link to it.
Oh,
yeah,
it's-
but there was a
linked
link.
Oh, I
document.
didn't
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't see that link.
so your specific question is who's responsible?
No,
Oh.
it says, I don't know what we're responsible for.
Oh, responsible for. Well, I think that when we were going through this and participating with our comments, and it was really through Elizabeth, we didn't really, I don't know how much conversation you guys are having at the planning board, Debbie, with, representing economic development, that my interpretation was, or my understanding was that Elizabeth was really carrying the weight of the economic development section. And she would come in here, ask us questions, we would give feedback, and I think it was really intended for us to pick up and add the detail to it. I don't think that the planning board got into that level of detail, and we certainly had not, as it was just trying to get the local comprehensive plan done.
Well, kind of, but I think in the broader, I don't have it in front of me, and I did not commit it to memory, but for economic development, the position taken was that we just did that economic development report just a few years ago, and that had very specific goals and objectives laid out, and that essentially that report has been subsumed in the section on economic development. We didn't start over. The references are to what the items in that report, and it specifies that the Economic Development Committee, in the short term with moderate resources, would be addressing the goals. I believe there are 7 goals set out in the final report, but like I say, I'm
Yeah.
speaking blind. But the idea is that it goes back to that report. We did that report, it was comprehensive, it was accepted and adopted by the select board, and that's
Maybe it is.
the basis for moving forward at this time.
Okay.
You know,
Andrea, I see you coming off. You want to jump in
No,
here?
I
Oh, you're
just have to echo, yeah, I'm just echoing Debbie, that the plan, the economic development plan, which is the charge of your group to be the brain trust and help prioritize actions by the town and eventually investments by the town, given the multiple ways that we can go about funding this, whether it's through housing or broadband connection. The list is pretty specific there.
Yeah.
I think
In
the
fact,
way.
of all the categories, the economic development section is the most detailed and comprehensive.
Yeah, and
I
it's
would-
coming from our goals.
Exactly.
Right.
The way the document is laid out currently, it's being reworked graphically right now. But the way it's laid out, it is a little bit hard to see to line up the responsibilities with the items. But if you look on page, it says, yeah, the actual document says 214, but there's a list of economic development priorities with some bullet points on action items. And when it says lead responsible agency economic development, that means me. And then this committee obviously would be supportive I would assume whenever you.
But am I right that planning board didn't take this up? It was Elizabeth coming here and using our plan. This, meaning,
The planning board
No,
originated.
the planning board
Yeah.
decided, I mean, in the discussions of all of the, the comprehensive plan, that the section on economic development early on was determined to at least focus and start at the point of the economic development plan that had been adopted
yes,
just a couple
yes.
of years ago.
Yeah, no.
And then addition, if there were additions or deletions or other information to be, folded in, then, that would be the case.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
And those
at
were
least
the
they-
discussions, but, yeah.
Yeah, you're your own country, though. You're not answering to the planning board. You are your own department and country charged
Yeah.
with this plan.
well, that's why I'm wondering why two conversations would have been having. My understanding was Elizabeth was coming here, hearing from us, taking our plan and incorporating.
Because the planning board is driving the local comprehensive plan overall. And then they received input from the relevant departments for each section of the plan, and relevant departments and committees. And so Elizabeth came here to get feedback on the
Yeah.
economic development.
And then sync it all
section.
up.
And then sync it all up,
Right.
yes. And then we make comment and,
Right.
yeah. So, and I'm happy, I can read out the, under economic development objectives and actions. One was support the renewal of Orleans business districts into vibrant, compact, walkable places with safe, visible, and convenient connections to other commercial areas that foster a thriving ecosystem for businesses and promote year-round living. And then there are action items under there that, it's infrastructure, setting goals based on trend analyses, and then providing public spaces with downtown infill development, actively seeking destination businesses to enhance the local economy. And so those between the planning and economic development are split up. The second objective was to create a business-friendly environment in Orleans that retains existing businesses, amplifies their success, supports their expansion, recognize the value of entrepreneurs, and fosters a thriving, profitable, and resilient local marketplace. And that includes a reviewing of municipal regulations, evaluating how the wastewater infrastructure program may affect local businesses, marketing Orleans, providing incentives and support for local businesses, and assess the hotel hospitality sector and identify opportunities to strengthen local businesses. The third objective is to attract new, emerging, and high-value businesses and industries that will enhance the tax base and create well-paying jobs.
Sounds good.
Can I just jump in? Because part of your brainstorming and investment strategy goes right back to what Dave was referring to, where you have different nodes of operation that are kind of working against small business development now instead of for them. So if we mesh the idea of, like, I watched some communities develop Restaurant Row or the gallery section of town where artists are living and working. We have these neighborhoods in East Orleans between the two strip malls, even Rock Harbor now with the investment in the harbor. And the question is kind of how do we develop their identities and foster the activities there that bring people in. And
Yep.
and I think that's the name of the game. And they're going to be different. Even when we were at the very beginning of wayfinding, the idea not just of wayfinding in the downtown, but why don't we have banners or some kind of markers to differentiate Skakit as a neighborhood from East Orleans or from Nauset Heights? It's got to be organic, and it's got to be owned and developed by the people who are actually doing the work,
Yeah,
right? To Dave's point, that what's possible there? What are the niche businesses and activities we could foster and support?
right. And do we have a plan within the town now? Dick and I were talking about this earlier, of being able to recruit businesses or bring businesses in. I think we have the building blocks now. We didn't a couple years ago, but do we have the building blocks now? And is that something that we should be talking about here and have it be, or some of us work on?
I see the website as being part of unlocking that and really articulating what we offer, and it being this great kind of marketing and recruitment
I
tool.
think it goes through the branding too, and
Yes.
other things that are going on.
Yeah.
The IEF, the next thing we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about, I think it all comes together.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when you think about what we do have to offer, and, you know, we gotta take, you know, there's, in some way, shape, or form, we gotta take a shot at getting, it's difficult as it is, Mike, and it's that way off Cape too, and in North Carolina, and in Pennsylvania, and, you know, where I operate. In New Jersey, you're right, getting people to work is very difficult. But we gotta take a shot at some of these things, or at least we have the opportunity to here. You've been given the opportunity by the town to try to get it done. It's our job. And the first thing is to enhance local businesses.
Yeah,
You know, that's part of what we get to try to do anyway.
yeah.
So, whether, you know, we gotta give it a shot. And I think we're starting to get some of the tools to be able to do it.
Yep.
And the easy example, and because it does talk about incentives and things, we have incentives for people to rent their homes now. Town is very generous through this housing thing. Why, when I was on the planning board, we kind of pushed for economic development, is the town was all in on housing. The question is, where are these people gonna work?
Yep.
And so we need to get some thought to business, to economic development. And so we have incentives for housing, we get the building blocks to market the town. What are we gonna do to incentivize people?
Yeah, coming in and
Taxes,
businesses.
Is it grants, is it, what, who knows? There's a laundry list. You can look at what other places did. Other seasonal communities, so.
So, you know, going back to our goals and things that we were looking at for this year, I mean, this fits right in specifically. That's why I'm glad that everyone's talking on the staff side and syncing it all together. I was getting a little like, oh my God, wait, you guys. So, you know, should this be an agenda item that we bring up? How do you want to, you know, pace it, I guess, trying to think about everything else that you're doing and things that we have going on? When do we insert this into this, like, more specific conversation into our agenda?
I mean, like business recruitment, or
Yeah, and incentives and ideas of way to attract business, but, you know, I think we still have a foundational problem of attracting people, you know, parking, marketing. There's still stuff going on of like, how do we even get the people here? So, yeah,
There's one thing, I think that we're grabbing at things in the sky of what we can solve, and there are small things, pickable fruit that we can solve faster than the bigger picture. The reason I'm saying this is when I wasn't summering on Cape Cod, my parents would bring us to Musquamaket every weekend for just the day.
Yeah.
Just the day. Pack everyone in the station wagon, get to the beach. My mother had breakfast, the lunch, and then you would go in town. You know, Musquamaket wasn't much a town, but around East Beach, you would go somewhere to get a pizza. But you weren't going to do that if you didn't have facilities to clean your children off with, to clean the family off with. They were all bathhouses. I don't think I've been to a beach in Connecticut or Rhode Island.
New Jersey.
that doesn't have a bathhouse.
Right, they're all in New Jersey.
We don't have it. We have shower spigots on the sides of buildings, if they're working. And putting a bathhouse at Skakit, Rock Harbor, Nauset Beach, right? It's not crazy expensive, but you're doing a wealth to the area economy on a great beach day, getting these people to stay in Orleans. Those are the things that I would like to look at. How do we have the audience, but they're getting in their car at the end of the day and they're going home because they're filthy. They don't feel like going out.
Mm-hmm.
How do we solve those problems and keep the people here? That's where my frustration is.
well, it's definitely an interesting idea. I mean, we can go back and start, you know, you know, have an agenda item where we take the time to think about those things. I think that would be worthwhile and figure out how to advance them.
goals.
But it's one of our goals, right?
Keep people
Yeah.
here longer.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's an easy fix, and we constantly in these meetings go, I wish, wouldn't it be great, that would be awesome. Yeah, right, but we can fix this problem. How do we keep them here after a day on the beach? It's a real easy fix. I don't know how we get there, but I think it's an ask of the DPW, of the town. Get it? I mean, what do you guys think? Are people coming to you after the beach?
Showering in the Hog Island.
They have showers.
A lot of money for the sewers.
Right?
No, yeah, always, you know.
I mean, I've talked briefly about it with Nate, you know, just because, I mean, when everything down there at the beach was kind of like a little bit temporary while things have been going, you know, but I wholeheartedly agree, and all the beaches that I day tripped to as a high school kid or whatever always had those showers, you know, just open air, you're just there, you press a button, it runs for 30 seconds.
It had a little changing area, you know, it's not a big
California's
deal.
cluttered with them, you know, not cluttered, but you know, they're all over the
They're all-
beaches. I mean, it's a very valid, I've always said that when we have a sunny day, everyone that lives here, is renting place here, goes back to the outdoor showers, and then we all get hit at 6:15 when everyone calls out of those things
Yeah.
to come out because they're fresh and ready to go, you know?
We used to have them down at Nauset.
I know there's one at
They used
Skagit.
to
When
be there, but now
Liam's,
they're
yeah, when
gone.
Liam's was there and the
Philbricks.
restaurant was there.
Let's go back to Philbricks, yes. there
Well,
were
but I mean,
three of
we
them,
used to
yeah.
have them and then they got
Right.
taken away.
Right.
So we used to have, there was a dressing room and
That's an
showers.
economic driver.
Yeah.
That's an easy economic driver in the summertime to keep those people here.
I mean, also what people look forward to, and I know we have a lot of restaurants in town, but, you know, we are so close, we are surrounded by water, but we have no place to eat by the water. And I
Yeah.
know that's something that when people come, like, oh, I'd love to sit by the water and have a whatever, it's like, well, go to Dennis or go to, because we don't,
You go Double Dragon, you can
don't-
go the Orleans Inn, you can
Orleans Inn.
bring a sandwich.
Yeah, so, but there aren't a lot of places, if, especially for outsiders, that want to sit by the water and just have a drink. There's nowhere in Orleans to do that. I mean, that could be a really far-flung project, but I tend to go, well, you know, maybe I have to just go to Chatham and I have to go sit at CBI at the beach bar because I really want to have a drink by the water.
Yeah, that's,
And there's nowhere except out of town to do that. So, you know, that's another driver. Water and entertainment near water is a big driver. And, you know, I've just had, you know, I've been lucky enough to be able to travel this winter in you know, in warm areas, the last couple of months. And the first place I go to is, okay, where is there a restaurant by the water? And there's plenty of that stuff in the South, right, where you can go and get, you know, a meal by the water. And we are surrounded by water, but there really aren't very many places you can
well,
go.
we've done a very good job of preserving and conserving all of the land around. 80% of our land is in permanent conservation. So it is a problem for new construction to be able to build on the waterfront. I mean, it's virtually impossible. So you would have to convert an existing building like Double Dragon or the Orleans Inn, there's a sale or an investment made, but to Dave's point, they've got to have the, you know, the balance sheet and be able to show the profitability of that and the worthwhileness.
And I think that's the problem, because I mean,
That's
I've
the
looked at
problem.
places, it's the razor thin margins on food.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Don't foster that.
Getting the help and getting the
And then the
this.
zoning, and you're talking, I mean, you have to really like having a place on the water if you think you're gonna be able to like get through all that, and you're gonna have to drop, you know, 15 to 20 million bucks to actually get it done. So the places
Yeah.
that are out there that exist today, which we all know, I mean, they've been there since, you know, for the last 30, 40, you know, plus
Yeah.
years. But it's just, it's impossible to do with the value of real estate and everything else. It's just, you have better off building something else.
I mean, I think the reality of what we're doing here, as frustrating as it is that, you know, all of us want
Yeah, it is.
action, all of us want to do things and get things done, but it's incremental. I mean, there's just, we don't have a checkbook. We don't have, we have carte blanche to do whatever we want. Everything that we do in this committee has been incremental building, the building blocks to get us to a point where we do have a good environment for economic development, for businesses to come in, for people to move here, right? So we're kind of at like, we're still at the new stage of trying to figure out like, where do we focus our energy at this point? We've gotten us this far. And I think that would be a good discussion for us to pick up the local comprehensive plan for the next, either the next meeting or, we're going into summer. So in the next couple of meetings, everyone read the local comprehensive plan. We can go back through our goals and merge the two and do what we did before. We all want action. I'm the last person that wants to sit and continue to talk about things and, micromanage little small things that we all want to see change, and we all want to affect change. So, but that means we all have to kind of like pick something, and either we're all in it together or we divide and conquer like we did before. But it's got to be, kind of an all-in approach, and understanding that it's incremental, and we're trying to move a big monolith organization in town. It doesn't happen, boom, so.
Well, and that's when maybe we have to go back to thinking about the short-term goals.
Yes.
And the longer-term goals, right?
Yes.
Because look, I mean, there's been some good things done. The town has done some great things this
Yeah.
year. And in the zoning, passing the zoning,
Yeah.
that was, I mean, that's where most towns get stuck. They don't, and that's not, we're not gonna see that, we're not gonna see the results of that for years, right? But like you said before, I mean, the infrastructure was laid, so now there's more openness, and there's sewer down in,
Yeah.
in that area, so it can begin. You just need now the investors to come in and do that. So I think some really hard parts have been done. Now it's a matter of like, what short-term things can we do now that we've gotten some of those hard things
Yeah.
done? What are some of the short-term things that we could do, knowing that, we're not gonna see enormous density in town, probably ever, but some more density, probably for another 10 years. I mean, it's gonna be that long. But I think we have to go back, because otherwise you're gonna have some really frustrating conversations here over and over again.
Yeah.
So what are the short-term wins? What are the long-term, expectations? Because things can change. But I think we may focus on that. I mean, the whole idea of fighting for showers in the beaches, that seems like a good short-term thing to put on your, maybe I'm being naive, but maybe that's a good short-term goal. But what other things, Judy? I mean, you started us
Well,
off
putting them
on that.
back. I mean, they were there. We had them, so
Yeah.
it's putting them back.
So why
Yeah.
did they leave, and why can't we put those back? But I
Yeah.
think thinking like that, some more tactical things that can be done in the short term, so we can drive to that, I think is important. I mean, I am a little frustrated that the sewer conversation sort of got a little bit pushed aside. We had talked about potentially putting something in front of the annual meeting, right?
Well, no, it didn't get put aside. No, it didn't get put
It's
aside.
ongoing. I mean, I don't
There's a
know, Dave,
task
if you want
force.
to talk about it, but you're on the task force with the consultant that is looking
They
at.
only had one meeting, and then he was gonna make his decision. It felt like it was just kind of,
I think there's another.
honestly, in that room, felt like it's just a bunch of people talking, and they were gonna make their own decision, to be honest with you. It's what it felt like when I was standing there.
Yeah,
There's
so there was a task force formed
Yeah.
to,
I
and
haven't heard
hired a
anything new.
consultant to look at what the options were. And that's what they were doing. They were analyzing. And I don't know, because of, whatever tax laws and different laws, you can't go back to the
No, you
first
couldn't.
phase.
We knew
But
that.
are there other incentives that could be put into place? And that was one of the things that they were supposed to be talking about, was looking at those options.
We had a conversation about potentially bonding,
Yeah.
a small piece to help the businesses, to give the businesses back some
Yeah.
of that money. And that was a conversation that we had here at some point, but I don't know where that's gone. And maybe we need to just get an update, Amanda, on where that's gone, because frankly, the businesses are out that money, and they're still waiting for a conversation or an answer on that.
Yeah, I also was wondering if the DIF could have some kind of a product in there, incentive product in there, if that were adopted, that could go back and help businesses, once we start getting into that conversation.
It says there's another meeting in 2 weeks to get an update on the consultant's work, so I don't think it's a foregone conclusion at this point.
But the short-term, medium, that's in this plan.
Yeah.
So I think we
Yeah,
need to.
there's little things.
Take a look at that and say, are these some of the short-term things that we should be pushing and working on? Because we can't keep recreating the wheel. I mean, there's a lot of work
There's a lot of work.
that's been done already.
Yeah.
So maybe separating this from, what's short, what's medium, what's long, and looking at, are those the right things for us to tackle, and how can we tackle them more tactically?
That sounds good. Is that how everybody wants to spend their time, looking at the short term, our goals in the local comprehensive plan? Have that for the next agenda?
And that,
What we're gonna
just so you know, the local comprehensive plan doesn't, it gets approved, it needs to be approved at town
A
meeting,
meeting, yes,
which is,
which is why it's on this agenda.
But I think that's our ammunition to get some of the stuff done. Some
Yeah.
of it's outlined, it's what the economic development survey said we should be doing. We should be looking for incentives. The town should be investigating, giving incentives to businesses to do things. That's our ammunition to, like, it's our job. We're supposed to be doing this. We should take a look at the heart of those things. We should push. We should decide what we want to do, and we should push for it and see what we can do. Maybe it's training maybe it's thousands of dollars of training for every new employee for existing businesses. Who knows what it is? I don't know what it is. I have Googled it, and I've looked at what things I know they do in Big Sky, Montana.
Yeah.
But they have land, so they could put in tons of employee housing.
Yeah,
But that's our ammunition. Let's look at the comprehensive plan,
yeah,
both. Let's
Yeah.
look at the economic development plan, see what some of the recommendations were, see what we agree with, see what we think is.
well, we've already done that. We did look at
Let's
we,
take them and let's.
yeah,
let's-
but merging the two, the local comprehensive plan and the things that yeah, and coming up with some,
And let's push. Let's decide what we think would help and push for it,
yeah, okay.
I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a good, we're at a point where we're in flux of trying to sync up with what the momentum that's happened and the local comprehensive plan. So I think it's a good time for us to bring that list out and figure out who's gonna do what and what do we wanna push for.
Well, and I think the one thing that we've
Yeah.
talked about some really, really big goals, right?
Yeah.
Like big goals and things to do, and how we could maybe sculpt some things that are either in play or haven't been considered or what have you. But I think that there's small wins that we can snag now to hopefully push across the line to
Yeah.
show what we're doing. Then we'll have something tangible that
Right.
we can share and then use
Yeah.
as credibility for other projects and initiatives moving forward.
So do we want to bring those ideas to the next meeting and everybody just contribute to a global list that then we, talk through and research? How do you guys want to handle the next steps? Because we can't just rely on, obviously, Amanda and everybody here has ideas. So trying to figure out how to facilitate a meaningful conversation and decision-making so we can get the action that everybody wants. What does that look like?
I think looking at those short-term goals, I mean, I don't know if it's easy to pull those apart, Amanda, so that we can we can each look at, but they're in separate categories. I don't know if that's easy to pull up.
in the local comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
And in our plan, probably, are there,
Yeah, and I'm happy to, because when I was presenting the budget to Finance Committee, they had asked me to relate all of my asks back to the Economic Development Plan. So I went through the Economic Development Plan, and we have accomplished something in every single,
Yeah.
and I'm happy to come and kind of go over all of those.
remind us what we
Yes.
have accomplished, because it's very easy to be.
Yeah, and this community's done a lot, so I think it's worth talking about and celebrating.
Okay, so the next meeting, we will go over what we've done, and we can have I mean, high-level categories of areas that we know need to be worked on for the local comprehensive plan. But I think everybody here has ideas and should participate. Like, we should send the ideas to Amanda before, bring them to the meeting, like, this is what I'm trying to understand, what people want to do. Brainstorm on the fly, or send it to Amanda ahead of time so that it's then a discussion.
Well, and I'm always so curious about, like, what Dick was saying, all examples of what other communities are doing,
Yeah.
and, you know, what are tools that are available to us, what are, you know, that you'd like for us to look more into and explore. I think I would really, that would be really helpful.
Helpful, okay. So maybe before we do a brainstorming, we do the research of what other people have done. So the next meeting can be, look at our successes, this is what other towns, areas have done. We can start the list. But it's hard to do things on the fly for me, and to then come to the meeting and try to have a meaningful discussion and move something forward, and then don't talk about it for a month and come back and try to be fresh again, right? It's like, so it does require us to try to engage in the meantime between meetings, and either submitting ideas or doing some research so that we can have a meaningful discussion here and move things along.
How do we do that with open meeting laws? We can't
No.
email everybody, right?
I think we can do our own kind of research
Yep.
about, like, what ideas do we like and do we want, and we can submit them to Amanda.
Okay.
We can't have crosstalk
Right.
conversation, that we have to do here, which is totally fine. But just us coming with, like, okay, or sending to Amanda, here are the ideas that I want to talk about, or here are the places that I've researched that I think are cool and we should mimic. Those two things would be very helpful for us to get on the agenda and then have a meaningful discussion here.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
Melissa? I just wanted to say, I think your review, or the committee's review of what's been done is important, because, as you said, we've built over years now a real framework and foundation for moving forward. And things are sort of at the precipice of doing that.
Yeah.
But I really like the idea of taking some time and focusing not on the even medium or long-term goals, but really looking at what we have right now that is being underutilized, that with a little nudge could be better utilized, better marketed, and poised for growth. And, the showers are one, we used to have, Nauset Beach was such a nice place to go.
Yeah.
And, losing the bathhouses and Liam's, it's just not as nice as it was.
It's not, no, it's not a
Let's focus
destination.
on that.
Yeah, we used
That
to
is
go
like
down
our-
even all the time just to go to Liam's, and no one does that anymore.
That is like, and the concert, that is
Yeah.
a primary asset
Yeah.
for this town. And it's really being left to, we have more parking lot, but that's about it.
Yeah,
Anyway, there are other, in all aspects, I've been thinking about it a lot with the current, art scene, which has also devolved and needs support. And let's look at exactly what's there and what could we do to make it better. How can we better link the neighborhoods? Just really, what's the low-hanging fruit, I guess, if we look at what we have right now and not wait for the next 10 or 20 years when we have what we can imagine the town could become in theory.
right, I
We
think
all
that's,
might
yeah, no,
feel
that,
better, and we would also actually,
yeah,
help.
get stuff done, exactly. So, I'm kind of like make my notes here of like how we're gonna form this conversation. So we're gonna go over the past accomplishments and kind of look at the high-level categories of the areas that we're chartered to, look at and to add some momentum to. And then we're, yes,
If I give it
sorry,
into that.
yeah, please.
If you look at the comprehensive plan and starts on page 1 of 4, it's recent actions by the town. That does give you, it's all in economic development, that does
Yeah.
give you, it highlights some of the stuff that has happened.
Yeah.
That's a hint of some of the other things that are
Okay,
going on.
okay.
I found that a big help.
Yeah, good. Okay. And then the high-level categories, we can understand. I do think you have to have the longer term, which we've had, in mind, as well as the short term. So, because we've been trying to keep track of the data of like, what are we trying to accomplish? So we're not just busy, 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 right? So trying to make sure we have a way of keeping that in the forefront of our minds. But then our action items for this group are to look at other places and to send short-term ideas to Amanda so that we can have a meaningful discussion about the other places and what the cool things they're doing and ideas, and then we can try to move along with some action. How does that sound?
Okay,
Yeah?
sounds good.
All right.
I just want to make a public announcement here. I don't know if you guys saw that the Healy Driscoll administration came out with free AI literacy for every resident in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
That's pretty cool.
And that program will go on until December of 2027. But I can send you the link, Amanda, because I think that would be pretty cool to put in our community newsletter. And it is it is in combination with the Mass Tech Collaborative and Google. So you can get on there with your teams. I think it's great for businesses too, to encourage their teams to be more AI literate. Because it's here. I mean, it's not something that we can ignore. But I'll send you the link. I think it's good for all you guys to see also and share with your teams.
Yeah, we've
The
sent it
timing, the
around.
Newsletter goes out Thursday.
Okay, I'll send that to you.
Yeah, it's pretty, some of the even higher level training, and that is pretty sophisticated. And then there's a link to jobs that once you get this certification that you could be qualified for, and they're great jobs and they're remote, and there's lots and lots of them. So we've been sending them around to some of our staff as well. But that's another thing of like attracting remote workers, right?
Yeah,
So-
that's huge.
That's huge. Other places are paying people to be a remote worker and come into the town, so it definitely,
Yeah, I mean, places
Other-
like I think I've
Yeah.
said here, Tulsa, Oklahoma, they have, the Tulsa remote, right? So if you, and they have an aging issue like we do, and they are trying to attract new families and new folks,
Yeah.
and they're giving folks $10,000 to come to town, and their commitment is they have to stay here for 1 year, and that is it.
wow.
1 year, that's the only commitment. But what they have found now that they've been doing this program for, I think, about 5 years, is that people are staying. And people are having children, and they're staying in the community, so.
Yeah, I'd love to pay people to move here.
Yeah, no,
Vermont does it too, right?
Vermont used to do it. I don't know if Vermont is still doing it. I think Vermont had that program for a while, yeah. And, but if you want to attract people, you have to put a carrot out there sometimes, so.
Right.
All right, just the annual meeting, local comprehensive plan, the budget, what was the public outreach?
I just wanted to make sure people knew that we are having many opportunities for people to come and ask questions about any of the articles in the warrant. We're kicking that public engagement off. Tomorrow, we have a town meeting article workshop from 3 to 5, which is, we will be filming staff presenting on the key articles, and then that'll go up on our town meeting central, so people don't have to attend, they'll be able to see.
That's good.
But then on April 25th, from 10 to noon, specifically at the fire station, there will be, the architect will be there, the OPM will be there, and then, of course, the fire chief, and then the town staff that's been engaged in that project, April 25th from 10 to noon. That's specifically just about the fire station. And then we have our town meeting articles open house, where it is literally like a science fair where staff sets up information booths kind of about key articles, and people are welcome to come and ask any questions they might have. It's not a formal presentation. It's very informal. And just recognizing some people don't like to get up in front of a
Yeah,
group of
want
people and ask
information
questions.
before they walk in the door.
So we have one, we're trying to accommodate lots of different schedules. So Tuesday, May 5th, here in Town Hall from 5 to 6:30. May 7th, the lunch hour, 12 to 1:30 at Snow Library. May 8th, morning coffee time, 8:30 to 10 at the Senior Center. And then we will be available starting at 4 p.m. On the day of annual town meeting.
Yep. Well, this is a new for the town
Yes.
to do this, kind of prep work before town meetings.
Great
So
idea.
We want to make sure
Great idea.
people, and people can send the town manager's office a question anytime, but we want to make sure people have every opportunity to learn what's
Yeah.
in the warrant. And
It's nice because there's complicated things that come up that you need a robust discussion or, learning on, so.
yes, and we just did, last week's podcast episode was on the budget. This coming week will be on the wastewater articles, and then we'll be doing one on the fire station as well. So if people listen to the podcast.
I know you have a lot to do with that, so thank you. And to Kim, thank you. Do we need to do you want us to have a vote on record on the budget or on our line item or nothing? Is there anything that we we want to make sure that we're syncing up with the warrant and having a meeting before that town meeting so that our voice is heard or, there and appropriately?
I think, what I've said to other committees, just, it's really, you guys are out in the community talking to people, every day. So I think it's just being that sort of being able to explain to people what we're working on and
Yeah.
the important pieces that are on the warrant.
Okay. All right, so then, the May meeting.
The next meeting is the morning after annual town meeting, so we just wanted to have a discussion about that, whether you wanted to.
So that's the 19th? Wait, when is
The
that?
12th. So
12th,
annual
yeah.
town meeting's the 11th.
11th, right. Do I have it in my calendar? No, Chatham's town meeting's that night too. That's in my calendar. That's helpful. I'm not going to that one. All right. So the 12th, I know it's going to be very hard for you to be here because if it goes late. But, so that's the question. Do people, this homework that we have, can you do it by the 12th? Do you want to meet on the 12th? Do you want to push it out to either the 19th or the 26th? 26th is after Memorial Day, right?
Yeah, what about the week before, just in case there's any
When is
stuff
town
we
meeting
need
again?
for the town meeting? What about the week before?
I cannot the week before, on Tuesday anyway. Town meeting is May 11th.
There's probably not much we can
Do at that point,
do anyways.
yeah.
I will
You're
be
fine
here at,
keeping it?
I mean,
Do you want to go remote that day?
it's up. I mean,
Fine, fine with me. I'm just trying to get what everybody else wants to do.
What day?
So it would either be the 12th or the 19th. or the
19th, we
20th.
couldn't have this room, but we could find another room.
Okay.
I mean, I think if we can do the 12th, if that's all right.
Stick to the 12th? Okay.
It's okay with Amanda. Excuse me.
Hopefully it'll be a nice brisk meeting and it'll be over.
Yeah, we'll be,
Yeah.
well, but Mike, we got a lot
I'm
to.
saying I'm saying town meeting.
town
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
I'm like,
I
no,
read
Mike.
through it.
Yeah.
No issues,
Never happens.
no challenges, no.
How many
No.
warrants do we
Speakers.
have this time?
There are 34 articles, except there's a consent agenda that's the first 14, I believe. And, sorry, I'm trying to look at this. Yeah, the first 14 are consent calendar, and then 15 through 34, but then there are 2 citizens petitions at the end.
I actually have a conflict on the 12th, potentially.
For our meeting.
Yeah.
You should have what?
No, I think I might have a conflict for that day. So.
Okay. So, anything else? Do business, anything else we want to throw in the mix here?
No, I think we're good.
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
Second, all right. And then Dick Hartman. Elisa, I. Roz, Mike, Date,
For,
yeah, Debbie.
I
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.